Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Mess. So, Tarek and our continuing series, Naomi Happy Fun Time, because I couldn't think of a better title, and if you can't tell already, we're playing Triggerheart Exelica, developed by Warashi. When I say this is a hard-as-nails vertical bullet hell shmup, I 100% mean it. The better you perform in the game's levels, the harder the boss is going to be. It wants to kill you, it wants to steal your quarters, but you're going to have an absolute blast the entire time you're playing it. It is still, to me, one of the most challenging bullet hell shmups I have ever played, and no matter how hard I practice, I continue to get my ass handed to me by the game, and I still have fun doing it. Before we get much further involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined to want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But Triggerheart Exelica has a lot of charm in the graphics as well as the gameplay. I love the pseudo cell shaded look here, and I love that all of the bullets are so clearly demarcated on the screen. It 100% allows you to see what you're trying to avoid, and when you screw it up, you know it's going to be 100% your fault. The game does go relatively quote-unquote easy on you when you first start this. This is still the beginning of level 1, and while there are a ton of projectiles on the screen, it's still going to give you all of those openings you need to navigate around the screen space and try to avoid taking a death. And you will see here we get bomb stock as well, and the game's going to drop a decent amount of bombs for you because those are going to be an absolute lifeline as you get further into the game. Well, we've gone through the entire first stage to the boss without taking a single death, so at least for the first stage we're close to 1cc territory here, and that means this boss is going to be more difficult in the pattern department than it would have been if I had died on the actual stage itself. And I really do like that as a mechanic, that it real-time on-the-fly adjusts to how you're playing. You'll see here that the pattern is relatively complex even for a stage 1 boss, and I am dancing around it relatively well, but I will take a death here in just a moment unless I edit it out. The game definitely is difficult, but that's why I enjoy it so much. If you played a lot of cave bullet hell shmups, you know what difficulty is, but maybe you're looking for something new that you haven't played before. I do think this one is one of the better bullet hell shmups available on Naomi, but we'll be talking about one more shmup in this series, don't worry. But another thing that I love about this game so much is the graphical stylings. It is a bright kind of cheery shmup. Sure, it's a bullet hell shmup, but it isn't leaning on those sci-fi sort of tropes or all the cave graphics that are a little bit more dramatic. I just like how bright the game is, and it really is fun in all of the different enemy designs as well. It's basically a sci-fi militaristic shooter, but it has this like nice airiness to it that you don't usually see in shmups. But that airiness is going to be 100% destroyed by the amount of projectiles on screen. You haven't even seen half of what this game is going to throw at you, and I'm still performing relatively well. It's probably been like 6 months or so since I played this game, and probably like 3 or 4 years since I actually practiced at it, and even then, I could only get to about midway through stage 3 before I finally took a continue. And if you haven't noticed yet, you can capture ships, and that is going to be a huge benefit in later stages. I don't find it to be that essential in the early game unless you're trying to maximize score, but later on it's going to be a crucial mechanic that you need to learn. You have a capture beam, and depending on how big the enemy is, it takes different timings to actually get it captured, but it's going to be a huge benefit. And of course, you have that bomb if you're in a sticky situation. It's going to get rid of all the projectiles on the screen and give you that invulnerability for you to move on. And that is why I feel like this game gives you extra bombs, because just look at this pattern here. This is very complex. Sure, it's geometric, but you have 2 different patterns moving in 2 different directions at once. So actually moving through all of this, you'll see there I took my second death of the run. But I don't even really care when I die in this game because I'm having that much fun. I just love the challenge of these games. Just as here in the next area, I'm going to do a relatively good job of navigating the screen space and not actually getting hit by the plethora of projectiles that's coming towards me. And that's why I love bullet hell shmup so much. When you're performing well, the sensation of reward is instantaneous. It's one of the biggest rushes you can get in gaming, in my opinion. And if those aren't Pokeballs right there, I do not know what they are, but just watch all of these projectiles. If you can get through even a section of this cleanly, you're going to feel like you've done an amazing job, and you're going to feel that sense of accomplishment, and it's going to drive you forward in the gameplay. The best part is you also get to match it with an absolutely spectacular soundtrack that is just so good. So go ahead and listen for like 45 seconds. I'll back and tell you more about the history of the game. Enjoy. It's a fun, bright, cheery soundtrack that matches the fun, bright, cheery visuals that doesn't match the absolute ability for this game to just fill the screen with different things that are trying to kill you. And again, you'll see I finally used one of my bombs there. It is a good resource to get you out of trouble spots, pretty much like any bullet hell shmup. And I love the boss fights as well. I love all the designs of them, these gigantic ships, and I like how all of these purple projectiles kind of swirl around organically until they take the downward trajectory to come at you on the screen. I probably actually could have squeezed through there. I probably had a few pixels of tolerance before I ended up dying, but I did blow off a second bomb because I want to get more gameplay captures without the deaths. But Triggerheart Exelica definitely tests me in that because we're later in the game and it just becomes absolutely brutal. And you haven't even seen the most amount of difficulty here. Now that we move on to stage 4, this is when the game pulls out whatever stops it had left and just absolutely tries to take you out back and mug you for the quarters in your pocket. But that's the thing, this game is fair. There is a way to get through every single screen here. You just need to learn the patterns, you just need to memorize them, and you need to get better at your controls. It is never unfair. Every death you take is going to be your fault once you understand things. Because you'll see here I am moving around effectively through the screen. Sure, I use a bomb, but I've been playing 15-20 seconds on stage 4 and I haven't gotten killed yet. And that's all that matters in a game like this. You take each stage one by one, you learn it, you play it, and you get better at it, and you continue to do that, and the sensation of reward you get is second to none as far as arcade games are concerned. A lot of people love learning fighting games and getting competitive for them. The same amount of people love learning these difficult shmups and trying to get better to try to see if they can 1cc the game. And if you can do it on this one, I would be very curious. And if you've ever played this before, leave me a comment down below as well, because I'm curious who's played it, who's heard of it, and who's hearing about it for the first time from this video. Because it always makes me happy to hear you learn new games from the video esoterica oddities that I show you on screen. But again, just look at these projectiles, but I am navigating through decently enough. Yes, I died, but I was close to getting through the pattern. And because it has been like 6 months since I played this game, it makes me want to learn it even more and get even better at it. But now this is when I think the capture mechanic 100% is going to come into usefulness. You'll see there I captured that ship, but I did blow it up a little bit too early. But if you capture the right ship, you can drag it and block projectiles, turning them into score, or you can also drag them into other enemies. You'll see there that I was able to quickly destroy the other 2 tanks on screen without having to fire any shots. And you can use it to block here, although I should have moved a little bit further up into the screen quicker. Once you get to this area of the game, that capture mechanic is going to be absolutely essential. You'll see here I'm just tearing through all those ships in front of me with no issues whatsoever, and everything in this is now going to feel almost like a puzzle shmup. Your screen placement, the way you capture different enemy ships, and where you move them on screen is going to be crucial. If you do it right, you basically feel invincible. If you do it wrong, you're 100% going to die, and you know you're going to make a mistake there. But that's the fun part of it is, you can always go back and try again. One more taste of the soundtrack, boss music this time, because it's totally different, and I'll be right back again. It's a faster paced soundtrack, but it still sounds good and cheery there, and it does match the intensity of the boss battles. But now that we're on to the final stage here that I'm going to be showing you, you're just going to see how absolutely crazy this game can become. Right from the start, the screen is just filled with projectiles. It is going to test you to your absolute limits. Even if you've been playing a lot of bullet hell shmups, this one I feel like is just one of the hardest ones ever made in my opinion. But if you do play a lot of bullet hell shmups, tell me down below what you think the hardest game you ever played is, because I think it's going to just be a subjective answer as to that. But Trigger Heart Exelica is an awesome NAOMI game, definitely one worth playing if you've never played it before, and if it's been years since you checked it out, you should give it another go. You could do a lot worse than shmups on the NAOMI, that is for sure. And if you love learning patterns and you like getting better at games that only take about 20 minutes to play from start to finish, you're absolutely going to love this one. But short of that, I've got a lot more NAOMI games coming your way, and I've got one more shmup on the playlist, but I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.